Hello, hello, everybody. Come on into my room. I know you're going to say, don't quit your day job, but guess what? I don't care because this is my space and I'm practicing peace in the midst of my storm. In the midst of my storm, I'm practicing peace. I'm going to be in joy. Yes, in the midst of it all. Yes. Hey, Roger, come on in. Come on in. Hey, Keith, come on in. Come on in. Yes, as I was saying, in the midst of my storm, in the midst of all the cares today, I am coming into this room to share with you peace, joy, and happiness. Yes, today we're going to focus on a topic. Now, I got a lot of feedback from people who had some questions and some concerns, and just different things that they feel that we need to go in the midst of the storm. Yes, in the midst of the storm. Yes, trust me, the storm is hovering over. Yes, yes. And guess what? Peace on the inside. Peace on the inside. Which brings us to resiliency. And that's what being resilient in the midst of the storm. Being resilient in a difficult situation or dealing with difficult people. And what does that look like? Yes, it is. But peace and this. Yeah, still smile. Woo! If I tell you about my day, I might tell you about my day as I go on with this with this lesson real quick, but we'll see how that go. We see how it go. But anyway, Kathleen asked about that, to go in a little deeper on that. I briefly talked about it before. We talked about it with when we went over meekness and what meekness means. Yes, perseverance. Yes, faith. We're going to talk about that. Yes, Roger, you on it. But we talked about that meekness and how being meek is being strong. And in the midst of it. So that meekness is a part of your strength. Even though troubles coming your way, you're being strong but quiet at the same time. So there's a strength to it. So anyway, here we go. Resiliency is about elasticity. It's about your ability to spring back. It's about quick recovery. So this is why it's so important to do all of your forgiveness of your past so you can clear out that room. And guess what? It's going to be so quick for you to discover that your room is dirty because it's clean. Okay. So now it's about that quick recovery, that quick forgiveness. And again, we talked about how love is your greatest defense. Why is that? We're talking about resilience, your ability to spring back. And so the first thing that came to me as I was studying or seeking answers for how do we deal with this and deal with it in peace. Because remember, this is the whole point of what we're doing. We're seeking peace and we're pursuing it in the midst of our enemies and trying times and different. Hey, Christina, welcome, girl. In the midst of all of that, how do we deal with it? And so again, my application to this is that love is the greatest defense, meaning always default to love. Well, how do you default to love when you're dealing with a difficult situation or difficult people? So the image that came to me was an egg and a mattress. Okay, so we have an egg. You know, if you was to drop an egg on the floor, it's going to make a mess. Why? Because the surface of the floor is hard. So dropping an egg on the floor is going to crack, yolk's going to come out, make a mess. Even if you crack it on the edge of a counter, it's so fragile that it's going to crack enough for you to open it and expose it, and it could make a mess depending on how you do it. But when you take an egg and you drop it onto a mattress, a soft mattress, that egg is not going to break. So what I'm saying here is love. When you have love as your defense, there is a softness about you. There is an elasticity about you. It gives you an ability to spring back. And so I used this example earlier. I was having a discussion with somebody about how I deal with the difficult people in my life. And I've already discussed with you guys that I have one that's constantly in my life because we have a history. And we share, something very important to both of us together. So there is a constant interaction. And those are the hardest ones to deal with because you cannot avoid. There's some things you can just cut out your life and walk away. But when there is a responsibility between you and this person, you can't just walk away. And so again, that mattress is what you want to be like. You want to be like that mattress, that love bouncing off of a fragile situation. The egg doesn't get messed up and the mattress doesn't get messed up. Now, how do we do that? So I'll give you an example. Again, and I probably shared this example with you again. It makes it so difficult. What makes it so difficult, Roger? What makes it so difficult? The egg or the mattress? So while Roger's typing it in, so let me go ahead and explain to you. When you're dealing with difficult people, the first thing we do is we retract the other person. Yes. But again, we can't control the other person. We cannot control the other person. So when we're dealing with a difficult person, we contract, which is our old defaults. So our old defaults say, go into yourself, do what you have to do, guard yourself. Of course we guard in our heart, but when we do it in that way, we're doing it out of fear. I don't want this person to hurt me. I don't want this person to say things to me. Hey, Champ, how you doing? I got a full house tonight. I got Champ in the room. Yes, difficult people, right. We cannot control them. We control ourselves. Yes, we control ourselves. We also have to control ourselves without fear. So when you're doing it with love, when I'm talking to a difficult person, and as I told you guys, I deal with a very difficult person. They come full gear, guns with all, loaded, ready to push a button. And so how I deal with them is not by loading up my guns and shooting back at them. What I have to do is address it with strength, with that meekness, but also stay in my peace. So what I do, let's say, for instance, I had it today. So where they were going off and they were trying to tell me how they felt and what I felt and all that stuff. And my answer to them was, I'm sorry you feel that way. Now, I did not dismiss how I was feeling, and I didn't dismiss how they were feeling. So I'm giving him his peace or his space, and I'm giving myself my space. But I don't go into his space. I stay in mine. I'm sorry you feel that way. It's such a liberating statement. I'm sorry you feel that way. Meaning that is your way of feeling. It's not mine. It's probably not what I'm trying to get out. At least you acknowledge both sides. Yes, and I think that is the way that you hold on to your own peace. People, every time you go into the negative, you have just cluttered your house. You have just polluted your own house as soon as you step into where they are. And that's why the enemy brings it to you. He brings it to you so that you can grab hold of that pie, eat a little bit, and you start to fester on the inside. That person said something to me. That was offensive. I can't believe he did that. All of those things will start to fester. And I'm one for that. I go through this every week. It's a good point. Don't clutter your house. And I'm sorry you feel that way. It's a great way. It's like you standing right at the door and saying, okay, I'm sorry you can't come in. But I'm sorry you feel that way gives them a sense of, I'm going to just tell you like this. When I say that to them, they totally stop talking. It's almost like, how do I answer that? I'm not giving you enough space to answer me back. Because what they want to do is go back and forth with you, so that, there's this kind of fight. And I don't have time for that. Right. There's a fight. So when you just release it, I'm not saying that your feelings are not valid, because they are your feelings. Are they right or wrong? It's not open for me to judge. So I'm sorry you feel that way. That wasn't my intentions. I'm sorry you feel that way. Again, we go back to the customer service because you are not going into the house. Yes, don't go into the house. Don't go into the house. Don't go into the house. And don't let the smoke come in yours. Don't let the smoke come in yours. You guys, I need to get my charger. Hold on 1 second, you guys. I was on the road, so I ain't my charger. I'll be right back. Okay, sorry you guys. I haven't done that before. I usually charge it up, but I was on the road today. Anyway, so as I was saying, so there are three things. There's three things that we need to add to that. So you have your resilience, and we know that it's love. Your greatest defense is love. And you have to have whatever it is that you say. That's what I say. You guys can think of something that you want to say, but think of something that freely liberates you and that other person. Don't say things that open the discussion to go further and deeper into whatever it is they feel. And I used to do that. And it just got worse. So now, what we need to do and what we need to understand as we walk out and we go into, hey Tanya, oh, you made it, girl. Yes, as we go out, there's some things we need to understand. We need to have focus. The power of focus is hope. So when we meet difficult people, and this is going to help us love beyond ourselves. Hey, Kathleen, everybody's in the house. Everybody's in the house, and I'm running out of my battery. And I only have my I only have my charger, and I left the cord. So I'll be right back again. Hold on. All right, you guys. I'm sorry. Sorry. Yes, resilience. Okay, so what do we need to build this? We need to have the power of focus. Power of focus is hope. So in every situation, there is a space for hope. Hope that, like we talked about before, that the situation is going to change, that God is working this out. There is always space for hope. In every situation, God creates an exit. He creates a way out. That is your hope. How well we focus is our faith. It's our faith. Then we have the focus itself is the promise. And so how we apply this one? The promise is that I have, and you guys can have your own promise in each situation. But the promise that I have is, in the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your heart and your mind. So in other words, I'm saying, as long as I stay in my peace, as long as I guard my heart, which is having that resilience and having that whatever I say or whatever I do to keep myself from it. And there's some other things I'm going to tell you about, or whatever other things you can do. But I'm talking about now the difficult person that you have to interact with. This is the best way of doing it so that you don't get infected by their nonsense. Don't get infected by their nonsense. Don't get infected by that negativity. Hold on, you guys. Okay, so yeah, we're not getting affected by them. So we have the person who is difficult to deal with, that we have to have a relationship with, whether they're family, a spouse, an old friend, a family's friend, family, I don't know. But those people, you're going to deal with them, and your greatest defense is love. You're going to deal with them in the way that you have something that you say. What my saying is, I'm sorry you feel that way. When they come at me with fiery darts, when they come at me with anything that they have to say, I really don't listen. But as soon as they go into that negative zone and they want to point fingers, they want to be verbally abusive, they want to do all those things, blame you, that they big at the blame game. I'm sorry you feel that way. That is the greatest statement, and it relieves me, and it doesn't take me into that place, because once I address what they're saying, I will go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Meaning, when somebody comes to me, what are you talking about? I didn't say that. You go back and forth, back and forth, and before you know it, you are riding that roller coaster ride. And so some of the means that I use to not go there, or to teach myself not to go there, is having that focus. My focus is not on that problem. My focus is on the promise that there is a peace in God that will guard my heart and transcends all understanding. And we've been walking in that. We walked in that for 10 days, or we tried to walk in that for 10 days. And because I know it's there, when that difficult and challenging situation, when that difficult person approaches me, I have my focus on that promise. So even today, I had what you would call a care, and I dealt with a person. But while he was talking, while the thing was going on, I looked past him, almost like he wasn't even there, translucent. I looked past him onto the promise. God, you're going to give me peace. There is a peace. In that peace of God, yes, I focus on the promise. So what I'm saying is that distraction was what it was, a distraction to just make me focus. And here's the thing with focus. Focus engages your mind, your emotions, your will, and your body. So therefore, whatever you focusing on, it will take your strength. So if you ever notice, when you're dealing with difficult people, yes, when you're dealing with difficult people, it's the most draining thing ever. They will drain you more than running a mile. Okay, and you don't have to move nothing. You'll feel like you have run a mile. You'll feel so exhausted. Your mind feel exhausted because they're draining. They're draining. And mostly because you are focused on them. You are focused on them. Yes, you're focused on that. So I used this example earlier. I always have my examples because I definitely illustrate. Hold on, I got to put my charger in, you guys. Hey, you guys, sorry about that. I put the charger in and it kind of blinked me out a little bit. But, yeah, when you focus... Ooh, sorry. I'm sorry, you guys. Can you guys see me? Everybody's here? Say aye. I see Roger. Kathleen, you still here? Kathleen? Yes, I'm sorry. I know, right? Today was a test. It's almost like whatever I teach, I have to deal with that first. It's like I have to deal with it first. And today was thank you guys. So everybody's here. Today was definitely, I had to apply this resiliency. And thank you, Kathleen, for bringing it up. But I had to apply it. So where was I? Okay, so my example. If you knew, okay, let me set it up first. Let's say you have 4 doors. You ever know that there's a show that's called Let's Make a Deal. Let's Make a Deal. And they usually have these doors or a curtain, and you don't know what's behind the curtain. Okay, but let's say you were playing that game. Hey, Rogers. You also got kicked out? You got kicked out? Okay, so let's say you're playing the game Let's Make a Deal. And somebody gave you a cheat sheet, okay? Somebody told you, listen, behind number 3 is a Mercedes-Benz with $1 million check in it, okay? Behind number 1 is a broom. Behind number 2 is a chair. Behind number 3 is a pile of dirt. So now you know what you want to do. You want to go through door number 3. You want to. So, if nobody knew, you're standing there in this game, and the host says, okay, is it door number 1? What you going to say? No. Door number 2? You're going to say no. Door number 3, yes. You will wait out the doors because you already know that your focus is on door number 3. So door number 1 is not going to move you. Door number 2 is not going to move you. Door number 3 is not. That is the same focus that we need to have here. Every situation, person, place, or thing that comes to you that distracts you, and some distractions are very small. It may be, oh, I lost my keys today, or I couldn't find this letter. And some of them are really big. It's the argument, it's the car accident, it's all those things. But when you know that there is something on the other side, and you have to apply your faith to that, okay? I know, I'm having faith enough to know that there's something on the other side. You know that, especially when it comes to peace, because you have experienced it now. You know what it is, and to have those moments of peace. So you know it exists. Hey, Christina, you know it exists. So in its existence, then there's a promise. There's a promise that you can have it. That it's in you. And holding on to that is what's going to get you past that moment. Again, when we focus on the moment or the situation, and some of us have a lot of situations. Some of us have a situation in our house. Some of us have a situation at our job. Some of us have a situation with our kids. And so our focus is split between three different directions, okay? But when we bring it all together and we say, listen, what is it that I can do here? What is it that I can do? And I do what I can do. And the rest of it, I cast the care, because there's nothing that I can do about that. But I have a hope. I have a hope and I have faith that it's going to work itself out. That is where you release yourself from that. You release yourself from that. I cannot control certain people that are in my life, and they will be in my life because of decisions that I've made. But I can control how they come into my direction. And so that deals with the people that you have to deal with. So remember, your old defense is to quarrel, is to retract. And that's where that depression comes from. That's where that anxiety comes from. That's where the pressure comes from. That's where all those kids being concerned, because you're contracted, you're going inward, and you're taking that. It's like you're taking black smoke and you saying, I'm going to breathe it in. I'm going to take the black smoke and I'm breathing it in. That's what you do. That's what you do. So we have to learn to, one, take what we know about faith and hope and defaulting to love. We have to take what we know and not just talk about it, but practice it. We have to practice it, put it in motion. And the more you practice it, the more it's like exercise. It's like riding a bike. You're going to get on and you're going to just do it. You're going to just do it. We did it for 10 days, but the more you practice it, the more you will feel that muscle in you, that resilience, in you get stronger and stronger and stronger. So we have to learn the next thing. We have to learn how to forgive the perceivably unforgivable. Okay, there's some people and some things that's going to happen that it will blow your mind. You got to learn how to forgive. You have to be willing to forgive even those moments in order to hold on to your peace. There's going to be some people that's going to smack you in the face, not physically, but they're going to do things that will feel like a smack in the face. You're going to have to learn how to forgive those people. You're going to have to learn how to be better than those people. Be better than your old self. Be stronger than your old self. Again, I use Mother Teresa as an example, because I just don't see Mother Teresa having some of the conversations that we have. I don't see her and her stabbed in the back. Yeah. You're going to have to learn how to forgive that. You're going to have to learn, because The slap and the stab in the back is their problem. Okay? Now we can create borders, and that's another part I want to say. You're going to have to learn how to distance yourself from some people and be okay with it. So I'm not saying that you got to be a punching bag for someone. You have to allow somebody to make you into a doormat. I'm not saying any of those things. There are people that you're going to have to deal with that's going to be difficult. You deal with them in love. You tell them, I'm sorry you feel that way. That's not how I feel. You find a way to do it. And that's where that customer service, I use that for an example during the challenge. That's when that customer service person comes out. When you're dealing with people that's really not a part of your life, that's difficult, you're going to have to be willing to love them from a distance. Hey, how you doing? How you doing? Thank you for coming into my room. Yeah, but when you're dealing with people that's outside of your scope, you can learn how to love them from a distance. Okay? And some family members, you're going to have to learn how to love them from a distance. But the problem that we have, we still hold that in. We still holding a part of it in. We still want to question why. We still want to, what happened? Hey, girl. We still question why is it? What is it? Or we judge. We judge. Oh, I'm not around that person because they are blah, 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 blah. Okay. They're difficult. They're this. We start judging them and not understanding or get to that point where we just say, peace be with you. Okay. And create those borders around you so that peace can be in you, and just look at it from that standpoint, and stop going into the negative. You're going to have to be willing to be inconvenienced for your peace. Sometimes we have relationships because it's a convenience to us. There's a part of that makes it convenient for us, and we can't just let it go. Okay? We're going to have to be inconvenienced. There's going to be some people that's not going to like what we do and what we decide when we create boundaries. And those are those difficult people that you're going to have to you're going to have to look at with your face. I'm sorry, you guys, it came out. But those are the people you're going to have to look at with your face. Those are the people that you're going to have to say, I'm going to release you, but I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful. And again, this is about, it's two different ways here. You're doing that so that you can ensure that your peace is within you. The moment that you connect with some negativity, even in yourself, even when you're justified, it will go against you. That is why forgiveness is so important. And when you learn how to forgive quickly. I had an incident today. And again, I always have this incident, I have these incidents weekly, but this is what's made me learn a lot about what I'm talking to you guys about. And it back in the day, it would have ended very, very bad, very, very bad. And it wanted to end very bad. But I looked at the situation and I told them, I'm sorry you feel that way. And I had to repeat that about 10 times. But it left a peace in the inside of me. I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you feel that way. And I walked in my house and I quickly forgave him. And when I quickly forgave him, I had to go to that place and say, I understand that he is this. I understand that he has struggles in this area. I understood that his house is a house of negativity, okay? And if he wants company. See, you got your house and people got their house. And what they say, misery loves company. He wanted company today. But I wasn't trying to take the invitation. And so I had to learn to love him from a distance and understand that that's not a relationship that I can be involved in. And I walked away. But I brought that peace back to me by quickly forgiving him. Like, I can talk about the situation, but when it comes to him, I don't understand it. It's outside of my understanding because it's not peace. I don't understand it because it's not joy. And that's outside of my house. I don't understand drama. I don't understand when people try to be forceful and manipulative. I don't understand that. It's like you're speaking a whole different language to me. And so why would I try to talk back to you? Because like the Bible says, it's like you can't answer a fool in his folly. You cannot. Because then who is the fool? And a lot of times when I would get into those back and forward conflicts with him or anybody else, you couldn't tell who the fool was to the other person. You couldn't tell if I was a fool or he was a fool. You couldn't tell who started it, if I started it or he started it. And when you're dealing with difficult people, I said this before, what they try to do is push your buttons. Push your buttons. You can be calm and clear. You can be cordial. You can be nice. They try to push your button until you go off. When you go off, guess what they do? They retract. They retract and watch you go off because that's all they needed. You know why? Because they needed more energy for their house. They're running out of energy and they need more energy for your house. I have people who come to me because they love how peaceful and kind I am. So when they're going through something, they come to my house because they need to go back to that peace. They need to be around that familiar smell of joy, okay? And they bring that self to my area, to my aroma. When you're dealing with difficult people, they're trying to suck you into theirs, okay? So my focus is not on his. My focus is on my promise, which is that I can have peace that surpasses all understanding. That's what's promised to me. That's what I'm holding on to. So in the midst of all of it, I become the mattress. And I'll allow that fragile egg. Sorry, I got a net in here. I allow the fragile egg to just bounce right off of me. And that one statement, I'm sorry you feel that way, it just bounces. It just bounces because I did not denounce how he was feeling, but I also stood up for myself. Because sometimes in the midst of all of it, my biggest struggle, now some people can do this. My son, my oldest son, is amazing at this. Champ probably can attest to this. My oldest son he's like, I used to tell him all the time, if Jesus was living today, he would be one of the disciples. He has so much control over his emotions. So much control. And most people are like, he don't talk. No, he talks. He says whatever. But when there's nonsense going on, he has nothing to say about it. And you can sit there for an hour or two with him. When he was a kid and I wanted to tell him something, or I was trying to get something, he could sit there for an hour or two and not say nothing. But guess what? That was his strength. It didn't matter what I was saying. It didn't matter how much I fussed. It didn't matter. His strength was his ability to be resistant at a time. He wasn't disrespectful. He just remained calm. He remained calm. And in the midst of that, I ran out of things to say. I ran out of things. I used to punish him and say, well, I'm going to take away this. I could take away his whole room. And he would be sitting in that room just as calm as possible. Just as calm as possible. So I actually learned from him that his strength or your strength doesn't have to come from how much you can push back, how much you can fight, because that's what somebody's looking for. An angry person is looking for a fight. That's their house. That's the atmosphere of their house. It's hostile. It's hostile. The mindset on the flesh is hostile towards God. And that's exactly what happens when he does that. Or when you do that. When you go into that house, it's hostile towards God. So you're going to have the argument. You're going to go through all of these changes. They're going to suck the energy out of you. You're going to have no strength. So what we do, again, we have to make sure that we understand that what we focus on is where our strength is. What we put our mind, our emotions, our will on is where our strength lies. When we avoid that or we look past that and we focus on the promise behind it, it's almost like if I was standing here and this person was standing here, I know on this side is the promise. And so I don't focus on that. I don't aim for this. I aim over it. I aim over it. When people say you need to be bigger and better, okay, you need to rise above the occasion. You need to be the bigger person. That's what it means. Because when you get bigger, you can go right over. You can look right over that little small situation because that's all it is. It's a small situation. But you got to believe that, and you got to stop believing the lie. Because we believe the lie. We believe that if I don't do something about this situation, it's going to do its thing. I don't know. No. That situation going to do its thing because it's a separate entity from you. You cannot control anyone else. All you can do is be the guard of your house and say, this is not acceptable in my house. I'm not engaging in this conversation. You know, drama don't live here no more. Whatever it is that you say, that's what you need to do. And that's how you get through those conversations. Trying to think if I missed anything else. Now, again, I wanted to go over that one more time because, you know, I asked everybody to post their comments and let me know exactly what, you know, if they still had questions on it. And I'll probably go a little bit deeper into that the next time we do the challenge. Again, the challenge is going to be October 1st. We're going to do the same challenge over again. It's going to be bigger and better because we have a lot of information now that we have made the foundation of it. So we're going to add to it. And we're going to do more on the physical side, meaning eating right. You know, for people who did the green smoothie challenge, they already understood how just changing your diet and eating healthy took away a lot of things that you thought was holding on to your peace. Yes. That definitely, you know, I was feeling heavy. I couldn't get things done around my house. I mean, I really was going through some changes and I changed my diet. I started drinking more water. Change your D4 book and it's in the work. Yes. I'm going to be working on the book. So hopefully that'll be done by the end of the challenge. You should be able to at least, you know, get a copy of the book so that you can have. And I probably will, this will be an ongoing challenge because I think you can always apply this to your life. And you're going to have to apply it until, you know, just like we learn in school. We take a whole semester of school to learn and master something. And so this is something that you're going to have to learn and master so that it just be a part of your nature. And every situation and in every season of your life, there's something different to master. There's something different that you're going to have to say, how do I love through this part? How do I keep peace? You know, I've had, there's people in a group that had, you know, members pass away. My sister, her dog passed away on yesterday, and she took that pretty hard. Her dog was a lot to her, meant a lot to her, and it was the only dog she ever had. So how do you have peace during those moments? And sometimes, just like I said before, when I was going through my darkest moment, when I couldn't grab hold of the peace, it was the people around me who was doing the construction. You know, I talked about that with people like, you know, Patty told me about, you know, what deliverance was, and I needed to get deliverance, which again is really learning and praying through that rough time so that you can come out of that rough time into the promises of God, which is love, peace, and righteousness. And then once she introduced that to me, or the idea that it was a possibility to have that, or for that process to be done, I later on met Evangelist King, which is Roger's wife, and then I met him, and they gave me more. That's what's good friends are for. Yes. And so, yeah, and that's what I'm saying that. So because we're in this group, I think that groups gives us that as well. So there's going to be times where you're going through things, and I would love for you to come back to this group and share it with us, you know, so we can be a support system. We can be an accountability partner a companion in that time, because I know that that's rough. There's some times that, even though you have the tools, you might not have the strength to use the tools. And it took people in my life to be there. That people like Keith, there's some people I know when I'm going through and I'm about to go into that, taking that care on, or going into that dark place, or allowing it in. I can call people like Keith and say, oh my God, this is what's going on. And after that conversation, I'm able to say, okay, you know what? Nope. No. I'm putting this on my paper. I'm gonna cast this care. But it takes a time. So sometimes you can go right there and say, no, I seen you. And again, that's our practice over and over again. You keep seeing the same storm. You already know it's coming. You know what it's made up of. That storm is not going to keep coming to your house the longer you keep avoiding it or going past it. But then there's some storms that say they're resilient, and they come back over and over and over again. And sometimes it's hard. And then there's ones that come out of nowhere, and you're like, what is going on? And it takes a village at that point to kind of get you past that. So that's what I'm here for, and that's what I hope this group will be. It will be able to help everybody in that time. So again, I want to keep this going on and on and on. And like I said before, we're going to add in the food. What is your health like? A lot of times you're not feeling peaceful, or you're not being in the right spot and feeling joy because your health is not up to par. You're not drinking enough water. You're not eating enough. Breathing. How are you breathing? Are you exercising? All of these things take play. Remember, you have a body, you have a soul, and you have a spirit. And you have to bring it all together. They all have to be whole. That's what when they talk about wholeness, you have to be whole in all areas. And so one is off, the other ones, they might be running, but that one thing can take over and make you feel, like you can't have that peace, that going to that secret place, that fullness of joy. That's the word I'm looking for. You won't be experiencing the fullness of joy. So I want to touch all of those things. Again, the challenge is October 1st. Kathleen is going to be helping me with some of the things. Kathleen is really good with, the physical side of going through or just getting your body at peace. There's some things to relax. So we're going to add a little bit more into the, I guess I would say, program to make this more experience for you, more of a experience for you. And just go from there. I'm quite sure the next time is going to be better. Again, if you can share with your friends, let them in, let them know what we're doing in the group. Keep sharing. They can friend me on Facebook, and I can put them in the group. If you guys aren't able to add them, but if you do add someone, let me know so I can, give a shout out to them, and just, keep my numbers up and know who's in the group and know what's going on. Okay. So that's it for today. I just wanted to touch bases with that. Again, I'm going to go a little deeper when we get into the challenge, and make sure that if you guys have any more questions, any more concerns, I'll keep posting until, we got till October. So anything else you want to address now before then, remember, if there are some issues that you have not forgiven, start doing that now. Sometimes it's a process. Forgiveness is very, very hard, especially when you've been holding on to something. It becomes like cement. It becomes like cement in your life. We call it a strong man. So if you're dealing with something that you just can't seem to let go, start working on that now. Start working on that forgiveness now. If you need prayer, you need to get through it, let me know. I can help you with that part of it as well. And I don't know. We're going to go ahead and say goodnight. If you guys have any questions, post it up now. I can address it now. If not, you can inbox me. I hope this helped everyone on tonight's resiliency. What you need. You need love, your greatest defense. You need hope, which is your focus. You need to be focused. You need to aim. You need to know how to aim at that focus and not on your problems. Aim at that focus and not on your problem. And in order, your aim, your ability to aim is your faith. It's your faith. When you waver in your faith, you'll be focused on that problem. If you take that dart and you aim at that promise and you go over and hit your promise and avoid the drama. Avoid the drama. Window shop. Window shopping, look right at that problem and say, I understand how you feeling. I'm sorry you feel that way. Bye-bye. All right, you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and go. I love you guys. Have peace. Seek peace. Pursue it. And remember, change your default to love. Love. Cast out a multitude of sins. Hey, Christina. Thank you for the hearts, you guys. All right, I'm going to go ahead and go. I'll let you know when I'll be back. I don't have my kids this weekend, so I might be back a little bit. But I do want to work on this book. I need to get that out while I don't have the kids and have the information ready for you guys as soon as possible. Okay, so you guys have a good night. I'll see you later. Bye.